This woman just went to the restroom on the plane. She never thought it would end up saving her life. Right as she was heading back to her seat after using the bathroom, the plane suddenly jolted. The sudden weightlessness threw her straight into the air, and when she came to, everything was a wreck. She tried opening the restroom door, but it wouldn't budge. She had no choice but to kick it open with her foot. When she stepped out, she was stunned. Outside was nothing but ice and snow. Turns out the plane had crashed into a snowy mountain mid-flight. After searching around, the woman finally found her family, but sadly, they had already frozen stiff. She tried to dig their bodies out of the snow. At that moment, a man crawled out of the wreckage. They were the only two left alive on the plane. The two had no one else to rely on, so they decided to stick together and find a way out. They gathered what supplies they could and set off. Before long, they reached the edge of the snow-covered mountain. It was their only way out. They had to risk everything climbing down the cliff, but for a woman terrified of heights since childhood, it felt harder than reaching the sky. She slipped and nearly fell into the abyss. Luckily, the man grabbed her just in time. After pushing themselves to the limit, they finally made it halfway down the mountain. But the cliffs here were 10 times steeper than the ones above. Just looking down made her dizzy. They were forced to shuffle sideways along the narrow ledge. After only a few steps, the woman froze when a giant rock blocked her path. She glanced at the drop below, and fear completely paralyzed her. The man had no choice but to reach out and drag her across. Even though her legs were trembling, she had to fight for her life if she wanted to survive. She finally made it across, but when the man tried to keep going, he realized there were no more ledges to step on. They were stuck halfway up the cliff, trapped. At that critical moment, the man suddenly came up with an idea. He leapt off with all his strength and landed right on a tree below. The tree cushioned his fall, and by sheer luck, he survived. He quickly shouted to the woman that it would work, telling her to jump toward the tree, but for someone terrified of heights, it felt impossible. Still, with the man's encouragement, she finally jumped, only to come crashing down right on top of him. The man groaned, then checked his phone. It had shattered on impact, and even if it hadn't, there was no signal out here, so he tossed it away. After catching their breath, the two kept moving. Before long, they reached another snow-covered peak. Step after step, they trudged through. Then the man spotted a cave up ahead. On this freezing mountain, it was the perfect place to warm up. He quickly called out to the woman behind him, telling her to pick up the pace, but by now she was clearly exhausted. Just as the man was about to go help her, she suddenly spotted something terrifying
Avalanche!
and let out a scream that echoed through the night.